Hi, this is a nail art tutorial for a fishtail nail art. When you're done, it should look like that. And what you want to start out with is a simple clear base coat. I used Out the Door. It comes in a pretty big bottle. Got it at Sally's for like $5, I think. You can use that as a base coat or a top coat, and it dries really fast, so that's really helpful. And on top of that, I used China Glaze liquid leather. It's really nice and dark, and it goes on pretty nicely. You typically only have to do about one coat. So what you want to start out with is you want to have 3 colors in a nail decorating bottle, or you can use a brush if that's what you prefer. I would get a skinnier type of brush if you're planning on using that. I use Stripe Right for mine, and I'm using their white and black and their blue. I also got these at Sally's. They were on sale, so I don't know their normal price. And they work pretty good. The white and the black tend to run a little thick, and it's to help you do your nail art a little better. And their other colors, they're kind of gooey, so I used a nail polish thinner to thin all 3 of them out so that it would be a little easier. So once you have all that set out, you can use any type of colors you want for the design part. I suggest using at least one color that matches your base coat, and then one that's just a plain non-sparkly color, and one sparkly color. The blue does have a little bit of shine to it. It's really interesting, if you can tell on here. Okay, so what you want to start out with is one of your other 2 colors that aren't matching the base coat. You want to get a fair amount on the brush. Just start from the outer back edge of your nail and go across diagonally to about the center of your nail. And you want to make it a bit thicker, unless you want to be here for hours, which I would not suggest. I tried that once and it took me way too long. And then just fill that in. Now with Stripe Right, their white tends to not go on so cleanly, so sometimes you probably have to do a second coat with the white, which is fine because it dries really fast most of the time, unless you add a lot of thinner, then it takes a little while. And almost done. Tends to be kind of streaky, but that's fixed up with a top coat. Now, if you did what I just did and get like a little spot further down your nail, or you messed up on a line, it should be okay. It's pretty good for, it's almost mistake proof, this design, so it's pretty good for beginners. And if you have a little bit of time, keep all 3 of those colors close to you with your lids open so that you can get to them. And what you want to do is take your next color that's not your base coat color, you want to take it, since my blue is kind of thick and that kind of stuff, I had to wipe off a little bit. And you want to start from this edge, the inner back edge, and cross over it a lot closer. So you just have a tiny triangle at the top of your nail, or at the base of your nail, sorry. You want to do the same thing that you did with the white. Make one line, And then make a second. If you don't have a steady hand, I would suggest trying this on paper first, or even on somebody else's nail, if they're a willing volunteer. So, with your first 2 steps done, and I promise it gets easier after this, with your first 2 steps done, should look like that without the little white dot towards the tip. So, kind of hard the first 2 steps getting the design set up, but after that it gets easier. Now if you've added a lot of thinner to it, which I have, it doesn't dry as fast, so you want to wait for it to dry a little, or the brushes will start to smear the colors, and that does not work well. It destroys the design, basically. I had that happen on this nail. So, that's as dry as it's going to get for the time being, unless I sit here for another 5 minutes. So, after that, those 2 steps, it's pretty easy. You go along what you did for your first stripe, you go along that bottom edge. And when you use a base color, it's kind of hard to tell where you've made your line, but I guess that's just the price you pay. You can do a different base color and just use 3 other design colors. I wouldn't suggest it, because then the tip up here looks funny. So, you do your 3 steps for the stripe, make your 2 lines, and then fill it in. Make sure you fill it in all the way and don't miss anything, especially towards the center of your nail. And that's all 3 colors. Then you start over. You take whatever your first color was, let it dry a little bit, and you go along the bottom edge of your second color. Just that you're crossing over your base color. And once again, it's the same thing. Just make 2 lines, which does get kind of tricky if they don't dry fast enough, because they start to smear and mix. That's not fun. You can always fix any mistakes, especially if you're using really skinny brushes like this. It's really helpful. It makes nail art a lot better. I've tried using brushes. I don't prefer them, but if you do and that's what you're using, then fantastic. I appreciate you doing it that way. For me, it's just kind of hard. I don't know why, but it is. So I live with skinny brushes that come with the bottle. So by this step, you should look about like that. It's kind of wonky right now, but it'll get better. Then your second color again. This one goes along the bottom edge of your base color that you used. And if you can't see my nail right now, I'm really sorry that I'm blocking your camera view. Had to film this on my iPhone, so it's a little tricky to get the camera set up right. Towards the tip of your nail, you can start making your stripes a little skinnier. So instead of doing 2 lines that are separate from each other, you can start doing them together if you want to fill in and have more colors towards the tip and it just look like it's getting smaller, which is fine. Then your base color again. And that goes along the bottom edge of your first color. Hopefully this won't smear. I didn't give it a whole lot of dry time. Oh, yeah, it did. Just a little. And if it smears, just keep a paper towel underneath your hand and just wipe off the brush. Just dab it real carefully over where it smeared. I'm going to have to keep doing that because it's getting tricky. That's only one line. My blue does not dry as fast as the white or the black, so that's why this one always takes a little longer. It's really smearing. Okay, so 2 more steps, 2 more stripes. You should be good, unless you have really long nails or really short nails. If you have shorter nails than mine, about that big, you should be done by now. If you have longer nails, then you'll probably be here a little longer. So, oops, did it on the wrong side. I'm going to go underneath your second color with your first color. And just get it all the way around the bottom of your nail, or the tip. So you get all the edges and make sure they're all clean. So you don't have any of your base color showing through down there. Unless it smears. Like mine is. Because it's being stubborn today. And then one more. And your second color again. And that crosses over on the side. If you can find nail polish that does not dry really fast, I would not suggest doing this design. If the polish does dry pretty fast, like within a few seconds, you should be fine. Or you can even do like each nail at a time, so that each nail has some dry time. Just do 1 stripe on each nail, and then just build up each nail all the way around. So, if you have any mistakes, like I do, because I missed a little bit up here on the white and it went into the blue, you can pretty easily just take whatever polishes you're using and just go right along on that edge and just fix it up pretty easily. So, that's that. So when you're done, it should look like that. And looks pretty cool. For the Stripe Right, if you use that brand, I would give it at least 20 minutes before putting on your top coat, or the white and black will smear and mix together. I've had that happen plenty of times. But if you're using something that doesn't smear as easily, you should be fine. And for this design, you can either keep it on your accent finger, which is your ring finger, or you can do them on all 5 of your fingers. Or you can switch up colors and do different color patterns on each nail. There's quite a few possibilities with this design. So, hope you like my video. This is what the finished product looks like with the top coat and everything. So, looks pretty cool all together. So, hope you liked it. Hope you enjoy the nail art, and I'll be posting other videos soon.